The tower topples this week, budget talks ahead for the school committee, and changes to the way secondhand dealers do business on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, March 13th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. The landscape is changing at Barnstable Municipal Airport. The old air traffic control tower toppled to the ground shortly after 9 Monday morning. Late last week, crews completed a lengthy and expensive asbestos removal project, which cleared the way for the tower's destruction. Workers took to the tower early Monday, tearing away steel, metal, wire, and concrete, much of which was trucked away for recycling. Airport manager Bud Brielt expects all demolition to be complete by mid-April. Budget talk ahead for the school committee. Tonight's meeting begins with a public hearing to discuss the school district's fiscal 13 budget. A $58 million budget representing a 1.58% increase over last year is on the table. The school committee could vote on the budget following tonight's public hearing. If the committee does make a vote, it's on to the town council. You can watch tonight's school committee meeting on Channel 18. It begins at 7 p.m. Barnstable police are paying close attention to secondhand dealers in town in an attempt to reduce the instances in which stolen goods are bought and sold at these dealers. Monday, the licensing authority met and discussed some potential changes that could be made to the town's junk dealer rules and regulations.
Basically, one of the things that's come up is that as these different junk dealers start to send the police department the required record keeping, one of the things that's come up is some of them are writing them by hand and then faxing them, and that becomes pretty much illegible, that you can't read them. Most of them are already sending them electronically. So what we'd like to do, one thing, is make that each business has to send them electronically. Almost everybody today has email access. We've already provided each of the different establishments the different record-keeping things electronically so that they can send them via the internet. And it helps in record-keeping in that, one, things are being able to be read, and secondly, we take the information that's given and put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and we're able to look at everything throughout the town, and it makes it easier to see if something's stolen from one place or falls into another place. Rather than taking a handwritten document and then retyping it into this program, it allows us basically to cut and paste and put things in. So that's part one. The second part of it is on the photographs. We've been getting photographs from these different places, but a lot of times they just take a picture of a lump of jewelry, and it's very difficult to ascertain what the different pieces look like. So what we're asking is that the requirement be changed that each piece of jewelry be photographed separately. And again, that photograph be transmitted electronically to the police department weekly, rather than us calling them and asking them to send it. The reason for that, again, is we're able to take these photographs and put them into a database so that everybody within the police department that has a case that may involve some stolen property, they can go into the database and look at the photograph and hopefully match it up with something that's been transmitted, rather than them listening or reading a description of a piece of jewelry, which sometimes doesn't equate to what the actual photograph looks like. So it makes it easier for us to tie things one into the other. And then another section that we've found to be a problem is some of the places in town are using the term consignment as a way to get around the regulation. They're saying that they're taking something in a consignment and holding it, selling it, and then giving the person the money from the sale of that quote-unquote consignment minus some type of profit that they're making. Definition of a consignment is where somebody holds a piece of property, sells it, and then the person who originally owned that property gets all the profit from that sale. So what we'd like to do is basically come up with a definition or strengthen the definition of what actually is a sale as opposed to a consignment. And that's where under 502-6, Section E, we just added that basically if somebody takes something in and sells it and gains any profit from it, then that's considered a sale and it's a recordable item.
And they have to comply with the bylaw.
Correct. The final thing that we looked at, and in talking to the town attorney, we may not be able to go forward on, is another issue that's come up, especially around Christmas time, was the resale of gift cards. There were instances in town where subjects would go into particular, as an example, a Home Depot, walk in, pick up a skill saw, and rather than shoplifting it and walking out of the store with it, they just walked up to the returns, returned the item, got a gift card, then took the gift card to one of the secondhand dealers, and if the base value of the gift card was $50, they sold it for $25, and then the secondhand dealer turned around and sold it for $40 and made a $20 profit. So it created a bit of a unusual circumstance where basically people were stealing things and not even walking out the door with them. So we need to look at that a little bit more and see how we can regulate that. But there was some questions as far as how this was worded, whether we could regulate it as things could only be sold for face value.
And that will be straightened out. And we have to have a public hearing on the amendments to this.
That's correct.
And by that time, we should be able to determine on how we're going to handle the gift cards.
That's correct.
Now, can we have this public hearing in the next meeting, 2 weeks? Is that ample time, Officer?
What we need is the language that you're proposing so that we can get that advertised.
My suggestion at this point would be to leave the advertisement the way it is, and most likely on Section F that we'd just table that for this time, and then probably bring that up at another time.
But before we can hold the hearing, we've got to put a notice in the paper that tells people what,
The notice that I read in the paper is fine the way it was written. I think that,
well, it's not for changing an ordinance, so.
okay.
That we've got to give people full notice of what the heck that hearing is about. So if we're changing 502-9, then we got to tell them what the new section is going to read, how it's going to read. So I need that to get it typed and sent to the paper. You know, and
Right.
Following the hearing, if there are comments that cause the licensing authority to support one of your proposals but not another, it doesn't have to be re-advertised because we've already given the public notice. They've had a chance to understand what is coming forward and to attend that hearing and to provide comments. But if we don't do the advertisement, then that could end up blowing a case fire if it's challenged.
So we should be ready to go on the 26th.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll have a public hearing. Mr. Berman.
I have one reservation. I have no objection, thank you. He's a good man to have around. I only have one
Right-hand man.
objection, and that is that you're demanding that anybody who has a junk dealer's license also be a computer person. And I think that's just pushing a little too far.
Mr. Berman, I would say that of all the junk dealer or secondhand dealer licenses we have in town, almost 90% already perform the things that we're asking. There's only probably 2 or 3 that don't.
But
And in this day and age, I don't think it's too much to ask that somebody know how to send an email.
That can be all discussed at the public, I don't want to get into discussing the merits of it. That would be discussed at the public
I
hearing.
go over there and punch him in the nose.
Okay, public hearing on the 26th.
The 9th Annual Children, Youth, and Family Summit takes place this Friday, March 16th at Cape Cod Community College. High school and college students from across the Cape have a chance to mix and mingle and learn about various job opportunities and lucrative careers based right here on Cape Cod. You can learn more at bcccyf.org. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.